Hey everyone, this is Jenna with Dream Awake on, what is this, YouTube? And then Collective Conscious or Conscious Creator on Twitter. And I've wanted to do this video for a long time about the different brain waves because we are a frequency. So our brain is a receiver of frequencies, and then we hold a different frequency. And our frequency changes all the time with our emotions and our situation. But basically, the frequency bandwidth that we hold creates the reality that we see. And so we kind of wanted to go over a little bit of this. And there's a lot of information, and we'll post some different visuals that you can see, but hopefully this is helpful. But this is, so let's go through all the different waves. So the first wave that we have is, well, the slowest wave that we have is our delta wave, which is kind of our dream state. So you've got delta, and there's so much that we could talk about in this, but it is your sleepy state, slowest vibration that you carry. And then from there, we go into our theta, which is our super conscious. And then we go into our alpha, which is our subconscious. And our subconscious holds all of our memories in every incarnation. I mean, I think you could say your subconscious holds your Akash, every past life, everything that your soul has ever done in and outside of this incarnation. And then from there you go to beta, which is your conscious state, which has a little bit higher frequency. And then you go into the highest frequency, which is gamma. And gamma is source consciousness. So we talk a lot about gamma waves. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with this. So we hold a frequency. All of us are a frequency. So all of our frequencies are interacting. And then there's the Earth's frequency and the Earth's heartbeat, which is the Schumann resonance, which measures the excitement around the Earth's ionosphere. And it's affected by space weather. It can be affected by solar flares. It can be affected by events that happen here. The plants, the animals, all of us contribute to the Schumann resonance. And as above, so below, the Schumann resonance is also us. Along with our frequencies, all of our chakras hold a different frequency. And so that's another reason why we talk about doing the work and doing your trauma work and unblocking your chakras and making sure they're not leaking, because what you're trying to do is be a torus field of energy that is going to be able to access your energetic field to directly link up to source consciousness. And once you're linked to source, you don't need to read a book. You don't need to go study something, because you have the source link up. Like, you're directly connected to source. And source is constantly trying to give you every single thing that you have ever wanted. It's us that is in opposition to getting that. And I'm going to show you why that is. So when you're working from a really low frequency, like this is the delta frequency, look at how, so you are a frequency. A frequency is a sine wave. It's basically a waveform. And so when you're working from a delta, like, look how long it takes for you to cross over the gamma. So you'd have like a big aha moment here, and then you'd go back to sleep, and then you'd wake up again and be really energized and know all this stuff because you were crossing over the gamma. And then you would repeat that. And so working from your sleep state or your lowest frequency, it's going to take you a long time to know stuff, to be able to accomplish things, to manifest things onto the physical plane. Okay? And then think about this as a person. So say you're working with somebody like this that's on gamma, and this is you, and you're like, why do they know all this stuff? It's because they have learned to be the most impeccable keeper of their frequency. And we're going to bring in this Walter Russell Cosmic Pendulum drawing. And the universal law is that when we put something in motion and we put an energetic charge onto it, it's the cosmic pendulum that it's going to have to, it will spiral in and spiral out, and it will have to go from the positive to the negative. So that would be delta has the highest, the biggest swings on the pendulum. Like that's this person that's swinging from here to here. So imagine this being a vortex of energy. Let me grab a piece of paper and I'll draw it. So the person that is totally asleep, totally in denial of their emotions, totally unaware that they are in charge of their life. So here's your vortex. So you're kind of, and this is your sine wave. So if we were to turn this around, this would be what we were talking about. So that's the sine wave. And that delta person is, there's the pendulum. Look at how much they're swinging, okay? And then you've got the gamma person. Do it in a different color. We'll do it black. So you've got the gamma person who's middle way, just like Lao Tzu and all the ascended masters. And they're going through the storm, and they're just like, oh, is there a storm happening? I had no idea. I had no idea because I'm sitting here in the eye of the storm where it's calm and peaceful, and I'm not getting flung around on the outer edges of the sine wave. Okay, so this is what we wanted to show you. So when you're sitting here in middle way, not moving like gamma, if we were to put this on the cosmic pendulum, see, they're sitting there, there's not these swings that are happening. And they're not happening because souls that are existing, working from gamma, working from source consciousness, have learned that there's no polarity, there's no singularity. Like, they are one with source, they are one with all that is, and so they're accessing that consciousness. They don't need to read a book, they don't need to go learn about it, they just know, because they're accessing everything that source knows. And they're staying there, and they're managing it, and they're not having to swing back and forth because they're not putting an energetic charge. They're staying neutral and not putting an energetic charge to everything in their life. Whereas somebody that is working from a delta frequency is getting triggered by every single thing that is happening, and they're just on that outer edge of that vortex, getting all swung around, having probably a really crappy experience working from, or not really working from, but I mean, they are working from, but feeling fear, feeling insecurity, feeling like things aren't working out for them. And so they do a little bit of trauma work. They try to bring some awareness and go, let me try to figure out what's going on inside of my body. And so they do a little bit of work. And we're telling you this because this was our experience. we accessed gamma a lot. So we probably were holding a little bit higher frequency, but we were letting our emotions swing us all over the place. And so you do a little bit of work, and then you can start to access gamma a little bit more. And you're like, oh my gosh, I like this. And then things start working out in your life, and you're thinking, hey, this isn't that bad. And then you do a little bit more work, and your sine wave gets a little bit more close to gamma, and you can access that. And then you start meeting some people that activate and kind of help you understand some things in a deeper way. And then you do a little bit more work, and then, oh my gosh, look at all of this stuff. It's all starting to click to the point that there will become a day where you become this vortex, and you kind of become a torus field of energy. So the apple, and in the center is 0 point, and 0 point is working from unconditional love. So you just become this powerhouse of energy, and it's your sine wave, and you're just channeling all of this energy, and you're doing this energetic exchange with all that is, and it's creating all of these really beautiful opportunities for you. So what we want to show you is, I think this is something that we experience a lot, and I'm sure that a lot of other people are experiencing this. But let's take gamma out of the equation. But let's say you were here. You did all this work and you became here. And you start to wonder why your life, like people are falling out of your life, or you're having situations where you're feeling like you need to change your life, or you're not understanding why things just don't jive the way they used to. This is you, and this is the life that you've created. And so we wanted to share, because this is one of the things that we had to learn, is that our life wasn't bad. Our life, we were really awesome manifestors, and we created all of this abundance and all of this happiness and all of these really beautiful things, but we were doing it from this state. So everything in our life was following this wave, and all the people that we had put in our life understood this wave and followed this wave, right? And then we became this, and they were like, whoa, I don't really recognize you. And then we became this and started accessing this. And then we started linking up and understanding all of this stuff about the power inside of us. And then we needed to change a whole bunch of stuff around us, not because it was bad, but because the world that made sense for us to create was creating a beautiful world in this space right here. We wanted to exist in the eye of the storm. We were kind of done swinging around in that torus, swinging from edge to edge. And so it caused us to need to make some changes in our life. It caused us to really reevaluate what we were doing. Was it in alignment with this middle way? Because it wasn't. And this feels good. And this was fun because we understood things. We could work from love. We could work from a place where we weren't angry all the time. And so what it required was us walking away from some of those experiences that we had created, these sine waves. We had to change the fractal and be able to have our fractal and our new sine wave be in alignment with this rather than in alignment with this. And so this is sometimes why people fall in and out of your life, or why sometimes we might be vibing with people for a while, is say you're vibing with somebody and they're on this frequency, but you're on the gamma frequency. Well, look at how long they can stay in your frequency bandwidth and be in alignment with you until they fall out, and then they have a situation, and then they might come back into your life. And this is why it's so important that we understand this, because here's what happens is we might be existing in here, and we have somebody that's like this in our life, and they have a situation and they fall out of the alignment. And maybe this is, I might want, well, I'll try to draw it on here. What color can I use? Let's do orange. So let's say you're the black line, the gamma line. And so you're together, and then you have these little points where you're falling out of alignment with each other. This is your timeline. This is their timeline. And what we do is we attach to situations, identifications, people, emotions. And so we can be in this gamma source consciousness way, but because we're now attached to this person that has a different frequency than us, then what we start doing, so this is us, we're like, oh, but I need to stay attached to you to keep you in my reality. And I need to stay attached to you because I'm fearful of losing you. I'm fearful of losing this experience. And then you start swinging out of these into these little outer edges where you're working from a place of fear instead of working from your power with source, and knowing that source has always got your back. Source is always constantly giving you all of this stuff. And here's the thing. I'll link to my fractal video because we are all energy. We're frequencies, and we get the same frequencies. So say we're attached to a person that's on this frequency. Well, guess what? That person also exists in this frequency. That person also exists in this frequency. That person exists in this frequency. They exist in all frequencies the same way that you exist in all frequencies. We're all energy. And the energy presents itself in different ways, in different dimensions. And we just have to trust that we're going to be able to recognize that energy. And you will recognize that energy the more you focus on your awareness and go within and understand your power. And then you'll start to understand fractal mathematics and the flower of life, and be able to see that you might love, oh, and this is another really great example. So here's the thing is that this might be your wave, and then you have an emotion, and then that person has an emotion, or you have a situation, and then somebody else has a situation, and then you just fall out of alignment, and then you're not really in the same sine wave anymore. But it's really important that we understand that these people present themselves to us over and over and over again in this beautiful, divinely grand organized design. And it's kind of up to us to decide, are we going to stay here so that we can recognize their energy? Or are we going to be fearful that we might not ever be able to find them again and follow them on one wave, which pulls us out of our timeline and puts us onto a new timeline? We hope that helps. That was a lot of information. And we could probably go really more in depth, and we're not a scientist, and we are not a video editor. We just want to teach you from like an everyday soul's perspective on trying to understand energy, because spirituality is this really beautiful relationship between physics and science and math and geometry and emotions and love and chakras and frequency and sound and vibration. And once we understand that, the most important thing that we can do is just be the most impeccable keeper of our frequency and do everything that we can to always stay on highest and best. Because when we're in highest and best, we have access to our angels. We have access to source. We have access to, we have access to that anytime we want. We can go from this to aligning really quickly with our vibration and opening our chakras and being here. What's hard is that when we're not fully open all the time, we can't stay in the gamma wavelength. That requires us to be working completely from unconditional love. And unconditional love requires us to not judge other people. It requires us not to love with conditions. It requires us to be able to accept that other people have their own journey. And it's not our job to wake them up. It's not our job to do anything other than love them. Our job is just to be the most impeccable keeper of our frequency and learn how to master ourselves so that we can stay middle way and we can just offer this unconditional, unwavering support first for ourselves and then for the rest of the rest of the world and the rest of humanity. And this is how we start to see a different world. This is how you see a new earth, because all of these different sine waves, they're all different realities that are here. I gave this example to somebody that I was talking to about sine waves. So imagine these are all like a piece of baklava, and all of these different sine waves are a layer of the baklava. And on the higher frequencies with gamma can see everything, but you can't see gamma all the time because you're swinging all over. So when you're way up here, you're not able to see gamma. You're not able to see what's happening in that space. So it's really important that we manage our own frequency, and how we do that is doing our work, healing our triggers, understanding why we have our triggers, trying to understand why other people bug us. They bug us and they trigger us probably because they came to teach us something. And so rather than being irritated or angry and yelling at them, approach it as, what is it that you have to teach me? And be curious and be open to see what they have to show us, because our demons are usually our angels in disguise, but we've just miscategorized them as a demon because we don't understand them, because they're coming in from this space and they move differently, they look differently, they work differently, they speak differently. We don't understand it because we're used to a different sine wave, and we're used to being like, they might be on FM and we're on AM, and they're speaking a totally different language. And instead of coming from a place of understanding, when we're not working from highest and best and saying, I don't understand, let me learn, we're usually yelling at them, telling them that they're evil or they're wrong or they're stupid, or we're going to cut them out of our lives, and we push them away. And we can all coexist and be different and live in harmony and happiness from a place of gamma. Way easier. We love you. We hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching this. If it was helpful for you, we would just ask you to share this with other people, because we're really just trying to get this information out, because we feel like once we share this information and we understand this collectively, that's the law of one, is it's a social mind complex, it's a social memory complex, everything's happening from this now moment. When we can change this here, we can change the past, we can change our future, we can change the present, and we can start to change our reality and see something different. So we love you. Thank you.